jiggly fat all over. Jiggly, you've seen these people. Jiggly arms, jiggly legs, jiggly belly, jiggly everything. What kind of body type is that?
That would be definitely carbohydrate intolerance with insulin resistance.
Okay? Just big belly, skinny everywhere else. Skinny arms, skinny legs, just the big belly. What's that body type?
Calorie sensitivity.
Calorie sensitivity.
Yeah.
Okay. Solid fat all over. Fat arms, fat legs, fat belly, fat butt. Hard though, not jiggly. What body type is that?
Probably a combination of calorie and carb influence.
Okay. And then just big butt and big belly.
That's probably calorie sensitivity, but with high amounts of cortisol.
Oh.
Stress hormones.
Okay. Cortisol. Yep.
Cortisol deposits fat around the midsection.
Yeah. Okay. So most people fail their weight loss journey. And this is the last video in the series on how to rewire your brain for lasting results. Most people fail because they don't focus enough on, or they don't think they focus enough on willpower. But first, let's get into, why weight loss is more about a mindset than just diet and exercise.
Well, if you've ever tried to do something that you really don't want to do,
yeah,
including, paint the kitchen, clean out the garage, or lose 40 pounds, you always hear people say, I'm trying to find the motivation to get this going, to get this done. And 9 times out of 10, they never do. And the reason for that is, psychologically, motivation in and of itself does not exist. It is the result of something else. And that something else is desire. If you desire something, to accomplish something, to do something strong enough, motivation will be the result.
And so how does routines and habits impact long-term weight management then?
Well, depending on how negative the habits were or are, they can sabotage things because human beings like consistency. In fact, all living things like regularity, consistency, and humans are no different. And so it's hard sometimes to give up habits because they're actually, even if they're destructive, they're comforting in a strange sort of way.
Yeah.
And it takes some effort and desire to do that.
And what do you think, what are the psychological barriers that come up for people most of the time? Like fear of missing out, stuff like that?
Yeah, somebody's on a weight management program and they're going to go out with their friends to have lunch. And the friends are not on a weight management program, whether they need to be or not, it's another matter. But they're all shoving it down, one course after another, 6 glasses of wine, and you're over there with a small dinner salad and a glass of water with lemon. And after a while, you feel like you're being cheated, like you're being left out. And again, it goes back to desire. First of all, if you're on the right weight management program, you shouldn't be living off of small salads and water.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Second of all, you shouldn't be intimidated by what other people do. Thirdly, you should have your goal in mind, and you should be following our program, which forces you to have anything your friends are eating once a week. So you can just save up for it and have that glorious, rewarding cheat meal.
And why do you think people self-sabotage their own weight loss?
That's an interesting psychological question. And what we've been able to determine is that the reason why people want to lose weight isn't big enough. It isn't strong enough. I used to, when I was touring, talking about our program, I used to use the example of the lady in the little black dress. And she was going to go to her high school reunion, like 30 years or 25 years, whatever it was. And she still had that little black dress that she wore to the prom. It hung in the closet for years. She couldn't get one arm into it, let alone the rest of her body. And she decided that she was going to diet. She was going to lose weight.
She was going to lose weight enough to fit back in.
And she's going to fit in that dress, and she's going to show up at that
reunion.
And knock everybody dead.
And so what's the moral? What did she do?
Well, she did do it.
Oh, she did it.
She accomplished it. But as soon as she got home from the reunion, the little black dress went back on the hanger and back in the closet, and she regained all her weight because her reason for doing it was over.
So what would you say then is that well, that's not self-sabotage. That's just a psychological trick she played on herself then, right?
Well, it is. I mean, she's sabotaging her own permanent results by using something that's so very temporary.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I get it.
I've achieved it. I've done it. I've accomplished it.
It's over.
Yeah, I'm done.
So talk a little bit about maintenance. I mean, we've done this whole series and we've broke down the program and figuring out what body type you are, calorie sensitive, carb intolerant, the combination of both, the diabetics, the insulin resistance, the cortisol people. We've broke those all down over all these series of videos. Now people, what everyone wants to know is, and what all the polls were saying and all the surveys we took was, now what do we do for maintenance?
Well, and that's the big fault of most weight programs. They don't have a maintenance.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's pointless. It doesn't work.
So I guess we start with set points then, right?
Set points is something that's very interesting, and no one quite seems to understand them, but they're fascinating.
Well, a good example is my being able to maintain 175 pounds for the last 10 years.
Yes, because you created a new set point.
Yeah.
And set points, what that means is that that's the body weight at which your body sees itself as quote unquote normal.
Yeah, and I'm severely carbohydrate intolerant.
Even if that set point is 50 pounds overweight. But if your body perceives that as normal,
okay. Yeah.
It will fight to regain and maintain that 50 pounds of excess weight. Now, when it comes to maintenance, now let's say you've lost all that weight and you don't really relish the fact of having to diet the rest of your life, which you shouldn't have to anyway. That's silly.
Yeah.
So you go back slowly to eating what you used to, and your body's going to see anything less than 50 pounds overweight as starvation. Because that's the set point it was used to. So it's going to start packing on the excess weight until it gets back to that set point it's familiar with. So what we have to do is we have to reset the set point. And we do that through our maintenance program.
And so what role does ongoing dietary supplement intake play on weight management? For example,
it's vital.
Yeah. So for example, you always recommend that people stay on a full spectrum supplement like high vitality liquid, like high vitality caps, either or. And then if you're carb intolerant, definitely the blood sugar support then too, right?
Understand that nutrient deficiencies, which result from our wonderful healthy diet, your body perceives that state as starvation.
Starving.
And once it feels it's starving to death, it's going to store every bloody calorie that it gets its little hands on. And that's going to make both weight loss and maintenance far more difficult than it needs to be.
So what would you say is key to keeping the weight loss off like long term?
Well, what we do in our maintenance program is we slowly increase the food value to what we call metabolic tolerance. So if you're carb intolerant and you've been following 30, 40 grams of carbs a day, and now you're at your weight that you're comfortable with, we'll start increasing those carbs by maybe 5 grams a day until we start to see a slight weight gain. Then we back it off a little bit, and that's your tolerance level.
Okay.
The same with calories. We will start increasing calories until you start to gain weight. And then we'll back it off a little, and we'll stay below that weight gain threshold. Now, what happens is that the longer you're at that level, the more your body begins to adjust to that new set point.
Yeah.
And what that means in the long run is that eventually you'll be able to consume high amounts of carbohydrates, at least often, high amounts of calories, and you won't get any weight gain response, because what the body has done metabolically is that it's reset that point to where it now accepts the new healthy body weight as normal.
And that's the key to keeping it off long term.
That's the key to lifetime without dieting.
Yeah. And what are the biggest mistakes that you think people make when it goes back to, regaining the weight?
Well, the first thing is I've
not paying attention to their body.
I've achieved my weight loss. Yippee, I don't need a diet anymore.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they go right back to the lifestyle that put them there in the first place. And what do they expect?
Yeah, and you have to pay attention to your body because everyone's different too.
Yes, you have to. Yeah, and that sometimes is the hardest thing.
Yeah, and how important there are a lot of people, and I've seen that you've helped people even lose weight that have mobility issues. But for people who can move and who can exercise, how important is that, you think? Is it really that important, or does it factor in at all?
Athletes at all levels, including bodybuilders, will tell you that being healthy is 70% diet and 30% exercise.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that 30% exercise isn't helpful, isn't essential, because you should be exercising not just to burn calories, but you should be exercising for cardiovascular health,
mental health,
physical, muscle growth, because when you pack on more muscle, your metabolism goes up. That's a good thing. And all of these factors that are beneficial only through exercise should not be ignored.
Yeah. And so don't forget to like, subscribe. If this is the first video you've seen of the series, you can go ahead and go watch the rest of the series we've done. This is going to finish it up for the weight loss. We're going to dive into a lot of the nutrients and antioxidants that the California firefighters are utilizing for better health coming up in the next video. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep in mind Dr. Whiting is always available if you want to speak with him. You can call him, you can text him, you can email him, and if there's anything else you want to say for this...
you can send me a letter by post even.
You can even send them a letter. And so
I can't remember the last time I ever got a letter.
And just keep in mind that, every body type is unique, and he's been doing this for over 40 years with success after success after success for all kinds of body types. So whether you get it for help from us or you get it from somewhere else, don't give up, because you can do it. And you just have to figure out the best way, in our opinion, is to figure out your body type and to run with it.
Yep. Don't make it harder than it needs to be.